Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, SaraBanta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. Excuse me, I don't know why we are having this echo. Let's see here. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyways, today my guest is back and we will be talking about hormones and how it can affect your relationships. And I know more than anyone that it's not just what you're taking as supplements. It's not just your diet, but it's also your lifestyle and how you're handling your relationships when it comes to mental health, spiritual health, and physical health. And whether it's overcoming anxiety or depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing the level of frequency in life, because isn't that the whole point of our lives? You need that strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products is the sponsor of the show. So as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. Today, as I mentioned, we are going to be diving in on optimizing our relationships and our hormones through hormonal balance as you age. So you really want to stay young, right? We all want to live a long life, but the quality of the life is just as important as the quantity. So I wanted to talk about some tools you can do to enhance the results and make it easier with your hormones and your life, and also start reverse aging. And the goal is to improve that mitochondrial health at the cellular level and increase energy both inside and outside the bedroom, right? So first is the accelerated keto. And this supplement really is the supplement that says, oh my gosh, now I can do this. I feel great. I've got my motivation back. It flips you back into fat burning mode within 30 minutes and your body taps into its fat stores for energy right away. What does that mean? That means you don't need food for energy or to get rid of that brain fog. You feel great day one. And when you're running on ketones by the accelerated keto combined with intermittent fasting and a low carb diet, you are increasing your mitochondrial health. And I can tell you, as I'm wearing my continued glucose monitor on my arm, it's telling me a lot of things about my blood sugar and when I'm intermittent fasting and what I'm eating. But you know what's interesting? The stress. The stress can raise my cortisol and also raise my blood sugar. So we're going to also get into that and the detriments of stress in our life. But that accelerated keto helps give you that awesome brain energy, but keeps you calm and keeps it so that you're not stressed out. And sometimes when you're intermittent fasting, that is a hormetic stressor. So you get the best of both worlds when you're intermittent fasting, but you're keeping your nerves in a really good spot and you're not stressing your system out. That accelerated keto also is able to defat the liver, and the liver fat and that visceral fat is the dangerous fat. So we are able to start reversing that and using that fat for energy. And that's where you see the defatted liver and the unclogged liver. It is easier for the liver to function and use or increase mitochondrial biogenesis and also improve thyroid health, as that's where your thyroid hormones convert from the inactive T4 into the active T3. And that increases metabolism, mitochondria, and your energy. inside and outside the bedroom. Accelerated keto also has other ingredients that prevent muscle wasting, increase the digestive fire in your system, and also start increasing that fat burning on top of just the ketones in the accelerated keto. And when you match that with the accelerated iodine, your ATP production, which is true cellular energy, skyrockets. Just with the iodine, the accelerated iodine, it increases ATP by 18 times. It's also needed for that fat burning, wound healing, physical performance, metabolism, thyroid health, and it helps with the energy in your brain as well. It opens up your pineal gland, so the brain fog goes away. It's known as the #1 spiritual supplement out there. And accelerated is the only monoatomic iodine. What does that mean? It means it has 100% absorption rate, where most other iodines are not only toxic, but they actually only have 10 to 20% absorption rate. And it's enhanced with scalar frequencies to detox from heavy metals, graphene oxide, spike proteins, and radiation. And you can match that with the accelerated ancient salt that is also enhanced with scalar frequencies. It helps with stimulating digestion, rehydrating the cells at the cellular level, helps with appetite suppressant when you're intermittent fasting. So even if you're on a water fast for a few days or even weeks, like our guest has done, you can use the accelerated ancient salt just on your tongue or in your water to really rehydrate and give your cells energy. Energy doesn't come from food. Energy comes from hydration. You can also use the stem cell patches that I've mentioned before. And my favorite, the energy enhancers. I wear some on my wrist, where's my pericardian meridian, and that helps with my heart health. And I also can wear them on the bottom of my feet, but they increase ATP production within 20 minutes. I feel the difference right in the morning when I put them on. They help increase heart rate variability, which I have noticed actually affects my blood sugar. When my heart rate variability is improved overnight and I'm actually getting good quality sleep and actually recovering, my blood sugar stays in a normal range. And we will talk about how insulin resistance and high blood glucose is really detrimental to our hormones. Testosterone and estrogen and all of the others. So energy enhancer is significant when it increases the ATP production with the accelerated keto and the accelerated iodine. Then you have the X49 and X39, and that combination increases energy, decreases fat, increases muscle mass, helps with osteoporosis, and helps with hair growth. Do you know how many women and men are coming to me, Sara, I've lost so much hair in the last 6 months? I think it's because of what's been going around, whether you had COVID or just the side effects around the vaccine. That has caused a lot of people with hair loss. And then, of course, just getting into menopause and aging, that will cause hair loss as well. And I've noticed with these patches, a lot of people are seeing a significant difference with the hair growth. So there's just a few tips. I give a lot more tips and tools through my free group coaching. You can join with the link below on Telegram, or you can email me through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. The difference between me and any other group coach is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other, and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Now to the good stuff. Dr. John Gray is back, the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. His most recent book is Beyond Mars and Venus, and his many books, blogs, and free online workshops are at marsvenus.com. They provide practical insights to improve relationships at all stages of life. Welcome, John. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually just got a new puppy today who's introduced new allergens into my house. I'm a little bit of an allergy reaction. I'm sure I'm adjusting quickly.
Oh, well, that puppy love, that is a dopamine response, right? As we're talking about hormones and how to balance out the hormones and what stress can do to our hormones. You know, those furry animals, maybe they'll give you a little allergies, but they're going to help with your stress hormones, right?
Absolutely. For example, normally I get up and I meditate for hours. Now I got a little puppy. I got to take her out of the box. 6 o'clock in the morning, take her out to go pee, and then she pees in the house anyway. So I'm working on that one. It's training. We all need training. So she's a baby. So what can I say? I'm full of love. It reminds me how we all need to feel full of love every day. And my wife died 4 years ago, and having a little puppy can help open the heart more. So I'm really happy about that. I'm also in another relationship, but she's in China. So I've been alone, got a puppy, and it's so fulfilling to care for something and someone. It gives you energy. We talk about our supplements, and I'm totally into all the supplements, and I intermittent fast, but we got to remember that life is about relationships. We need to have relationships where we feel needed, where we feel unconditional love. And that's having children. My children are all grown up and my wife is gone. So I need somebody to need me and smile at me. So dissecting it down like that, just today's experience, what we get to is the basics of the new ideas I put out for the Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus. Now people are saying, well, how do you know the difference between a man and a woman? You have to know a biologist. Well, anyway, I study biology to know the difference. Besides, it's common sense. And the biology is such that when we're in stress, there's always a hormonal stress reaction is normal. It's a healthy thing. It's when we're chronically experiencing stress. That's what causes so many health problems inside of our body. It breaks down your digestion. When your body thinks you're being chased by an animal, you can't digest your food fully. So that's everything. This is all of our nourishment. You can't have that. It also inhibits the immune function. Like your body says, don't worry about restoring health. We need to get out of here. So many of the functions of the body shift all to sympathetic, and we lose the parasympathetic function, which is action and relaxation. And the idea is that we're going through life active and relaxed at the same time. But when you have chronic stress, chronic cortisol, it causes adrenal burnout. It inhibits blood flow to the prefrontal cortex of the brain. When you're in danger, you've got to act on reaction. Reaction is all subconscious. It's all programmed in. It's automatic. So we really have no free choice at that time. And what that does to relationships when we experiencing chronic stress hormones, you may not even feel that you're stressed, but you're just sitting passively watching a TV show, which is when people do experience chronic cortisol levels. And at that time where you're being passive or you're not feeling loving and supportive and active and so forth, not that you can't have your rest time, I'm not against that, but the chronic cortisol levels in a man will always be indicative of low testosterone in him. And when a man has healthy testosterone, he's making testosterone, he's feeling successful, he's feeling confident. So those are the attitudes that go with testosterone. And when women are feeling successful and confident, they're making testosterone too. It's just that when women are stressed, the main factor that goes along with their feeling stressed is not feeling supported. Estrogen levels. Estrogen goes up when you feel I have support. I have what I need. I have enough time. When women are running around feeling I don't have enough time, or enough love, or enough money, these are our major stressors. And we think of that as stressful. But actually what's going on is when you're not feeling I have enough, your estrogen levels go down. When you feel I have enough, your estrogen levels go up. So there's a lot of things that will help promote production of estrogen, both in terms of biohacking and supplements, but there's also simply an awareness that as a woman, the estrogen levels tend to go down when you're feeling I have to do everything myself. And This is a tough thing. It used to be very clearly that women couldn't do everything themselves. We're talking about thousands of years of evolution where women were dependent on men for protection. They were dependent on men for support when they were pregnant and feeding babies. And it was a biological interdependence where you really needed him. It's like I have a house cleaner and I have this little baby dog. And I'm so glad when she came because the dog don't know what it's going to do while I'm doing this meeting with you. Partnership. It takes a man and a woman to make a baby. It takes a man and a woman to raise a baby. And when you're missing what men used to give to women, which is women felt, okay, I can get what I can't do for myself. I have support. I don't have to do it all myself. That feeling, I have to do it all myself, doesn't promote the production of estrogen. And when women's estrogen levels are low, they tend to have higher cortisol levels. We'll just put it that way. Now, there is another aspect of that, which is a little confusing. When you get into the details, it's on the way up towards her ovulation time is when she needs to have a lot of estrogen. On the way from ovulation to her period, she still needs estrogen, but not such high levels, but she still needs good, healthy levels of estrogen. And at the same time, she needs more progesterone. Now, again, when you're doing what we will call traditional male behaviors, and why do I call them traditional male behaviors? Well, they're behaviors that have proven to increase testosterone. Men need 10 times more testosterone. It's our major stress reducing hormone. It's amazing when you feel confident you're doing something productive, you're solving problems, you're making money, you're doing good things, good deeds for other people. And particularly if you're doing it to make money. Okay, if you're doing it for the reward, you're going to be making testosterone. And the same behaviors, if you're doing it just simply out of love and you're not looking for the reward, female hormones get produced, particularly.
Sorry about that sound. What's interesting, what you're saying is when right now we're in an economy where it feels like the ground is falling below us, right? So I would assume that a lot of men or heads of households, there's a lot of stress on them financially, and they're not feeling like they're being the man or providing like they used to. And with that, testosterone can go down, but also their estrogen can go up. And so you've got this mixed bag of hormones in the male. And I know you've talked about how when men are angry, most people think that that's a sign of too much testosterone, but that's actually a sign of low testosterone, correct? So the
correct.
stress.
Well, what's going on is if you think of emotions, whenever you're emotional, estrogen levels are going up. And whenever a man is angry, he's being emotional, and it's based on fear. Men who have no fear have no anger. That's always been the motto of masculinity is no fear. Although now everybody has fear. Let's talk about our fears and let's connect with our emotions and have a love fest. And then men's estrogen levels go up and then they can't perform sexually. They lose interest. They have a girlfriend. They want a divorce. All these things are complicated by men becoming too feminine. But when a man's estrogen levels are high, he becomes passive. When a woman's estrogen are high, she has a positive reaction to life, unless she's on the other side of her cycle. We have to keep in mind that for women, the cycles are changing. The progesterone is produced more when she's doing what she wants to do, when she feels free to do what she wants and she likes to doing, not for the reward. As soon as you go, when a woman is doing for the reward, she's making testosterone. When a man's doing it for the reward, he's making testosterone. But men need 10 times more testosterone. Otherwise, they're stressed out. And the stress will look like aggression. It can also look like procrastination. It can look like addiction. It can look like passivity. All the qualities we don't want as men happen when your testosterone is low and your estrogen levels are ascending. Now, estrogen is good. I have high estrogen levels at 70 years old, but my testosterone is much higher. I'm 50% higher testosterone than a young man than I was when I was young. So that's by having good relationship skills and intermittent fasting and some supplements along the way and a great sex life. All of that makes me at 70 years old what I playfully call the iron penis. I I was just at a conference of Iron Men, and they were all talking about their great physical endeavors. And I said, well, I don't do all that, but if I compare myself to you, I have the iron penis, which means that I do an advanced form of sex. It takes many years to learn, but it's where men can be multi-orgasmic without ejaculating. Now, that's the ultimate brain hack. It takes many years to learn this. You need guidance, instruction, practice. And it can be mapped out. It's very unique. And since it's not within the immediate range of everybody, I'll just mention a few statistics on testosterone in men, because we're really suffering from a crisis of lack of marriage. People can't hold it together. People can't stay committed. People are addicted to porn on the internet. And we need to, and there's a promotion that masturbation is good for you. They're even teaching children now in schools. This is insanity. Shouldn't be teaching children anything about sex in schools, but they're doing it, and they're telling them they should masturbate, how to masturbate, and it's good for you. It's not good for you. Traditions for thousands of years have all shamed. You know, when people didn't do healthy things, they felt shamed. They were shamed for that. That's why there's so much shame around masturbation. It's a carryover. And I don't like to shame people for a natural act of masturbation. You know, if you have a male dog, they'll lick their penis. This is animalistic behavior. And the ejaculation is something which is meant to make a baby. If you're not making a baby, you should keep that energy inside of you. The Taoists from China talk all about how men would live for hundreds of years and have hundreds of children as well, because they only use their semen for children. That's just 100 times. And the rest of the time, they would recirculate the semen in the body and regenerate the body. And like for women, having a man perform for you, only for you, could extend her life as well. It wasn't as common then. People weren't as conscious about for women. But today, what I know to be the case is that one of the healthiest things for women is to be multi-orgasmic. You know, there's two types of orgasm for women. Freud tended to talk about it, and then he got slammed for it. He called it immature orgasm, mature orgasm. And that's the clitoral orgasm. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called the immature orgasm. And that should precede, being a multi-orgasmic woman should precede many orgasms for different levels of her vagina. This is all mapped out in Taoism. They even used it for your health. What they had different positions or for different health conditions, because where you stimulate the penis and the vagina will stimulate all of your different acupuncture meridians. So there's a whole science to sex. We can't go into it. People need to know that sex is very important for your health. And we're above what they were doing, and that we have the capacity to be making love. And making love is the ultimate, pure love. And people have no idea what just basking in pure love is. Although, I have a puppy, I can feel the pure love of loving a little doggy. That's also sweet. But to have a wife, someone you've known for years and years and years, shared your life with, and you can feel this purity of love is such a precious commodity. And men don't know it. Men don't have enough wisdom to know it. It's women who have the wisdom. They instinctively typically want monogamy. It's a special thing. And the truth is, it makes their estrogen go higher. So come back to great sex, multi-orgasmic sex, knowing that this man only wants to be with you, and knowing that when he's in your presence, his testosterone goes up higher than in any other situation. And that's what romantic love can do. We all crave it. We hunger for it. Nobody's achieving it, because we have to, in our freedom today, you have the freedom. Everyone wants to choose whatever they want to do. It's like, I can choose to eat a ton of ice cream, but then there's consequences to that. You have freedom. Oh, men are wanting freedom to have sex with many women. Women want to be free, to be independent. Okay, freedom is great, but you have to be responsible with it. We haven't learned the responsibility. And I remember, I was a monk for 9 years, where I really learned a lot about sexual energy and how to transmute it and make it go up. But what happens is, as soon as you start ejaculating, you're a man, you fall into the national average of testosterone going down 1% every year. Right now, we're in a crisis of low testosterone in men. The symptoms of that, I mentioned a few, but a major one is an inability to stay attracted to your partner. So many people have divorces, and part of the key there is that they're not having great sex. In the beginning of relationships, they're wonderful because we're having great sex. Because what I'm calling great sex is making love. See, what happens is you grow and love together, and then you have your day, your stresses, and you're raising children, you got jobs and all that. You're love tank, so to speak, starts to empty out. And then you refresh it, you rejuvenate it, you go to a higher level through making love. Not really you having sex, it's using sex to make love. Because the amazing thing about sex is that it's like ice cream. It feels good. Okay. So when something feels really good, we have no resistance to it. And so particularly for men, all of our muscle mass keeps us from feeling love to a great extent. We know we love, but to feel love, we need a woman's love that softens our hearts. And that happens in making love. It's when a man provides pleasure for a woman, she responds with estrogen. Estrogen, a feeling of love and surrender and openness. She feels safe. Then she starts to open up more. Her love awakens his love. And it's just dependent. I mean, I know men who've written books on relationships who say love is not a feeling because they don't feel it. They just have glimpses of it. And then they say, I love you. I'm responsible for you. I'll stay true to you. But then they end up getting divorced because even the sex becomes very boring. And he meets a woman or has some addiction to internet porn, which is all confusing. Internet porn, you go online, does masturbation lower your testosterone? Oh, that's all they'll say. The only piece of information I can find, which is so important to put out, is the Japanese did a study several times on men and testosterone. And they found that when a man makes love to his wife and doesn't have sex for 6 days, on the 7th day, his testosterone increases 50%. It's highly significant. It brings back the love you had in the beginning. So many people say, can we bring back the passion we felt in the beginning? No, you're not going to have it all the time, because what happened in the beginning is we're in a slight altered drug state of high dopamine because there's newness. Once newness settles down, and it's a good thing, we don't need to be that heightened state all the time. The newness is there. But once the familiarity goes in, that's where comfort comes. That's where you feel more love, you feel more ease. So we want a balance of comfort and passion. And the science shows us how to do it. For men, if you don't ejaculate but once a week, if you go 6 days without ejaculation, on the 7th day, you'll have the same testosterone you had in the beginning, even though the newness is gone. See, newness only stimulates dopamine. Dopamine raises testosterone, and it's the testosterone that's going up in her presence that's increasing the passion and the attraction and makes sex, making love. So now you're going to a higher level of experiencing through monogamy, pure love, pure love. All you have to do is go masturbate and the level drops down. And even too much sex in a monogamous relationship can keep you from experiencing the growth of love. The research shows that if you have, say, sex on Saturday night and have sex on Tuesday, when Saturday comes around, your testosterone doesn't get that 50% bump. See, women are always saying, go ahead.
John, real quick, a couple things. So if you do have sex on Sunday and then on Tuesday with your wife, your testosterone's not quite as high, is that going to backfire on the actual feelings of bonding and love between a man and a wife? That's question number one. Question number two is, if a man is having a mistress or sleeping around outside of his marriage, is that lowering his testosterone? Here, everyone thinks that these men are so manly because they've got multiple people outside of their marriage. But my guess is, just like masturbation, just like gambling, just like food addictions, just like any addiction, it's lowering your testosterone. Would that be correct?
It's complete. He'll feel when he has his mistress, or he goes online, or he goes to a woman, he'll perform better than with his wife because his testosterone is so low. If you have the newness, see, it's always the newness that stimulates high dopamine, and the high dopamine stimulates his testosterone, rather than being in the presence of his wife as she starts to undress raises his testosterone. That's what you want. You want to be able to just lie in bed with your partner and automatically your breathing changes, starts to be your body, all kinds of hormonal changes take place just by being with your partner, as opposed to your testosterone shooting up because you're in a situation of newness. So you can't even experience this in the beginning of a relationship. Sex is pretty much based on fantasy because you don't really know your partner. They're new. And so you're getting the drug version of making love, as opposed to this purity of increasing making love. Part of it is even in the act of making love. Men get swallowed up by the pleasure. The thing is, be conscious. I'm feeling the pleasure to get in touch with what I feel. You see that? It's like, I don't need somebody to whip me. That's what S&M's about, is they want whip me so I can feel what's going on inside of me, which is a feeling of people who need to connect, men who need to connect with their female side, want somebody to whip them, boss them around, whatever, but only for an hour. Then they want to go back to their life. But it just allows them to feel. It's the monks, not I, but and I was a monk, but other monks in certain traditions will whip themselves and bleed, and that frees them from their addiction to sex. It's being in touch with feeling is able to connect with, okay, I'm feeling, through your feeling, you connect with your inner soul. You feel the love in your heart. So there's a dance of how to make love so that you're connecting with feeling. And that's why there's the pleasure. Now, you use the pleasure to feel the love. You communicate the love by doing nice things for each other. So you come back to the point you made. So what's happening if you have sex twice a week, and I'm not like restricted to this, if you're on a vacation, for example, on a cruise, I was just on this cruise, the newness and people taking care of you, the circumstance, that's going to raise your testosterone quite a bit. And you can have lots of sex, of course, you can do that. But you'll notice, and women should be aware of this, is after men have a lot of sex, their testosterone levels will drop. They'll be detached for quite a while. And so you go, what happened? We had this great moment together, and now he's ignoring me. What did I do wrong? Nothing. It's just that you enjoyed great sex. But ultimately, you want to live a long life, be very healthy. You want to keep your testosterone levels up if you're a man. And there's nothing, in my experience and what I know, although there's lots of good brain hacks, hormone hacks, is having a man experience 50% higher testosterone as you undress. Your estrogen levels will soar. And the pheromones, they've done studies on this. The man's pheromones, when he's aroused, will go to a woman's body and increase her estrogen levels. Also, when a woman's estrogen levels are going up, those pheromones will increase a man's testosterone. And so there's a interaction that happens between husband and wife that's really wonderful. Now, it's very hard for a man to not ejaculate, but only once a week. But if you're in a monogamous relationship, what occurs is your body and this is tested out. If you're in a monogamous relationship, a man's body will make prolactin. Prolactin causes him to not be interested in sex, except for after several days. That's called I forget what they call it, but it's a recovery time. It's where you're really excited about sex and you lose interest for a little while, then you can come back to it and lose interest for a little while. And, in the beginning of relationships, people talk about, oh, we made love all night long. Yeah, that's all just pumped up on dopamine and very little prolactin was being produced. Prolactin only gets produced in a monogamous relationship where you know your partner and you love your partner and you're growing in love together. Then you produce prolactin. Prolactin then frees you from wanting to be with another woman, to wanting to have sex anywhere else, to even being attracted to other women. You'll be bonding with your partner more. So we need to build that prolactin hormone. Before I can teach men how to have orgasms without ejaculating, they first have to give up their addiction to ejaculation. And that's what prolactin does. So you have to build up prolactin in your body, as well as know that any addictive substance will lower your prolactin. Okay, so any addictive substance. This is simple biology. What prolactin does is it inhibits you from having an addiction. But if you indulge in an addiction, it then lowers your prolactin. You're back to start again. So there must be a relationship between prolactin and dopamine, as dopamine is what drives all addictions. Yeah, they're directly related. When dopamine goes up, prolactin goes down. When prolactin goes up, dopamine goes down. Okay, now dopamine going down doesn't mean it has to drop really low. It means it goes to normal. And it's just like if you have an addiction, you go off of your addiction to normal dopamine stimulation, which is I'm not going to take these drugs or go on and do porn. There'll be a period of boredom. The boredom period is when you high stimulate dopamine to the brain, this is any addiction, high stimulation of dopamine, which, by the way, to bring women into the conversation here, because if we think about men with addiction, complaining is an addiction. Okay, so if you complain about one thing more, a complaint is simply a primitive form of a request. And when your brain is focused on what's wrong, every woman knows that. I counseled with 50 years. They start to loop and they go over it and they go over it and over it. You're addicted to negativity, because negativity, looking at what's wrong, will produce dopamine. Looking at what's right doesn't produce a lot of dopamine. It produces estrogen.
Well, now why would that be in, the biology of us? You would think that we would be driven to want to produce happy hormones or something positive from thinking positively.
Life is not, for evolutionary factor, life is about survival. So basically, when you're in danger, when dopamine goes up, there's a bias. If there's something bad happens, don't you want to make sure that doesn't happen again? So you're constantly remembering, now, watch out from ice cream and make you fat. Okay, watch out from ice cream. Okay, your brain. See, that's your bias is 10 times more looking at negativity when your cortisol levels are elevated. So that's another problem of cortisol being elevated, is now there's a bias to look at what's wrong, as opposed to what's right. Here's a simple example of that. There's so many to choose from, but one is, I was driving my daughter around in the car one day, and she said, "Dad, why we're sitting at a red light?" She says, "Why is it we always get the red lights?" See, that's a stress. We can't get to where you want to go. It's a moderate stress. It's someone keeping you from getting what you want. So you feel a little stressed. So you're uncomfortable waiting for the red light. Why is it we always get red lights? And I said, well, let's do a study. Let's drive around town and just randomly, and let's say, give a point for one green light and a point for one red light. We got way more green lights because you don't notice green lights.
Right.
That's one of the problems. Sometimes if you have pain and you take something and your pain goes away, you don't even notice it. It's just like, well, that's gone. But we always notice the pain. And that's the good times we tend to take for granted, which is always, all of this is a lesson in awareness, becoming more aware of how we take life for granted and create opportunities to appreciate what we have. And when you look at relationships, the way women take men for granted and the way men take women for granted is very not discernible unless you take a moment and look at how men and women are different. And the way women take men for granted is think, well, he should do that. He should do that. He should do that. He's my husband. He should do that. And so the funny example I give, so it makes more sense, is I take my wife on a romantic date after about 6 years, and we're leaving the place, and there's a double door, and I open one door, and some tall, handsome man opens the other door. And she knows, she doesn't know anything about him or whatever, but he opens the other door and she smiles at him. She says, "Oh, thank you so much." And I hear, as the husband who opened the other door, is, he better open that door. I do his laundry.
Exactly.
Just that we don't appreciate what we have. We just take it for granted. Well, I should get it because I earned it. Now, for men, and that's more the female point of view. Now, the male point of view is, why should I tell her I love her? Why should I do things to prove that she's the most special woman in the world for me? We did all those things in the beginning. That's when men were motivated. And this is the big misunderstanding of men and women. Women assume men will stay motivated. Men are not designed to stay motivated. And men will look at their wives and go, gee, I was really fooled in the beginning. She was always happy, because women are not always happy. All right. It's a nice little waveform. And men are motivated when they're needed. When you ask for help, men rise to the occasion. Today, I got this little puppy. It was in the little cage throughout the night, but she's got to pee when she wakes up. Otherwise, so I'm up at 6 o'clock instead of meditating. I'm out there trying to get my dog to pee outside. I mean, and I had no problem with it. I said, this is fun. I enjoy it. It's because I'm feeling confident, successful at doing something for someone I care about. So men will, in a sense, they're like turtles. They just sort of go into their little shell, and they're not going to come out until somebody pulls them out. And women have to pull us out. There's an old example of, in Hinduism, there's a story of Shiva and Shakti. They're the two male-female gods in some aspects of their religion. And he sits in meditation for thousands of years, and she's dancing naked in front of him. They pull him out, come out into the world. Women motivate men, and men help women find their happiness. And not going to be happy. You can blame everybody else. You need a heterosexual relationship. You need a male energy, making it safe for you. I apologize for the woke people when I said a heterosexual relationship, but they are happier people. We're talking about happiness. We're talking about male, female energies coming together. If you don't want to be sexual, that's okay. But there needs to be men and women connecting. Because when women are loving men, you've just connected to half the world. See, when a man's not
wow.
he's disconnected from half the world. We need to love each other. It takes a man and a woman to make a baby. It's for evolution. It's who we are. And, right now there's a narrative in the world. There's a narrative in the world, which is to denormalize heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
So you want to be gay? I'm happy with that. Whatever. That's your choice. People should have choice, but they should also know when you eat a lot of ice cream, you get fat. There's certain things that are in your life. I realized that, I was a monk for 9 years and got some level of enlightenment where I felt free. I was really very free. And suddenly anything anybody told me to do, I said, I'm not going to do until I do what I want to do and test it out. That's freedom. And freedom can create disastrous results for people if they don't have accountability. If you're blaming anybody for your unhappiness or your lack of health or whatever, you're blaming other people. What happens is freedom is going to ruin your life, because when you're free, you'll do things and you'll feel awful the next day and you'll blame somebody else.
Amen. I mean, the victim mentality that is going on right now. I mean, where does that play into the hormones? We have a few minutes left. I mean, if you're playing victim, and you're unhappy and blaming everyone else, I would assume blame is complaining, which is lowering testosterone and doing everything that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, here, estrogen goes up when you feel trust. I can depend on others. So you're blaming, you're saying, basically, I'm not getting what I need from you. Your estrogen goes down. For men, when you're blaming others, you're not expressing the most masculine thing you can do, which is to be accountable. I'm responsible for the results I get. And women can now be accountable. And that's the great thing. This is this evolution. Women can be on their male side, but they have to learn how to stay on their female side. And men can have fun. I can be free. I can enjoy myself, do what I like, as long as I'm being responsible to my commitments that I've made and I follow through. Those are my testosterone anchors. Otherwise, I'm a weak person. I'm an unhappy person. And I'm a dysfunctional person in society. And you just see the decadence in our world today. I'll just say it again, during Gay Pride Month, I have no problem people choose to be gay. Don't talk to my children about it. They don't need to know what you're doing in the bedroom. This is really outrageous. This is outlandish. We shouldn't be talking about this, having parades about this, and children involved in this. This is sick, and making us sick. And thank goodness, here you are, Sara. You can help us become healthier with supplements to help out. But still, we need to change our society back to sanity, because we're going crazy.
Well, it is. It's also being driven by the estrogens in our food supply and the radiation we're being exposed to, and the GMOs. All of that is creating estrogen dominance in the body and creating these imbalances in men and women in their hormones, and no one knows who they are anymore. And then you've got this open platform where they're telling you be non-gender specific. And it's very confusing to a young mind. And my kids didn't even get sex ed in elementary school because the budget didn't allow for even traditional sex ed. And now all of a sudden, this alternative sex ed is available to everybody. Imagine that. We've got a budget for it now all of a sudden. So it's just amazing how the world has turned in this way. And it's creating so much confusion, and kids just don't know where to turn.
And I love what you say, we don't know who we are, because in not knowing who we are, we take offense at everything, taking offense all the time. That's a sign. In China, the old-fashioned saying was, to take offense is to offend. Basically, and we're taking offense at everything. People can't have a different point of view. And, it's the number one aspect of what makes America different from every communist, dysfunctional government around the world is America, even though it's not so functional today. But it's that we have freedom of speech. And now, if you say what you think, you're out, you're kicked out, you're in danger, they're going to mistreat you and all that. This is crazy. And I love being on your show, but I want to mention another show where there is freedom of speech. And I recommend everyone to go to banned.video. These are videos that are banned off the internet. So there's certainly a grain of truth that people can find there. I just highly recommend it. Banned, BANNED.video. And there's a lot of loud, boisterous people, but I need a dose of somebody who's saying something opposite to what I'm hearing on TV, because you're being brainwashed, and that causes stress. Whenever you believe a lie, your stress level goes up. When you believe the truth or get an expression of the truth, your stress level will go down.
And fear, and the fear that is being created, and we've talked about this before, fear stored in your kidneys. What happens then? You retain water. It swells up and inflames. It causes inflammation in your adrenals. And, all of these emotions are affecting our hormones. And I mentioned that I am wearing a continuous blood glucose monitor now, John, and I intermittent fast. I eat a low carb diet. But when I first put this on, the stress of being monitored at 24/7 actually raised my blood sugar. And it was just a direct correlation of what stress does to the body. And it's just, it creates fear. Oh, am I doing anything wrong, or what's happening? So just going back to the detriments of stress and how to manage that so it helps with our relationships. And I
have an acronym for fear: forgetting everything's all right. And I wanted to say this because I recommended banned. It also, a lot of fear people can hear by listening to what these people who are selling fear is happening. But remember, when you're hearing the truth, also remember there's an intelligence in the universe. And as we wake up, everything's going to be better. But there's a real waking up that's happening. While one group is trying to do the great reset, there's the other one, which is the great wake up. It's pain and suffering does wake us up. And that's what's going on in the world. There's a big change happening. It will happen in the positive direction. The arc of justice always will get there. It just takes some time for people to wake up. And there is a saying, I want to quickly, another saying is that the saying is, a third of the people, some people know the truth. Some people will know the truth when it's shown to them, which is what you do, Sara, so beautifully. And some people, when shown the truth, do not see it. That's just what it is. So we can't feel sorry for those people. They have to just suffer enough, and then they'll wake up.
Absolutely. Well, John, thanks again for coming back on. Tell everybody again where they can find you. And I highly recommend your new book, Beyond Mars and Venus. It's a must for everybody out there.
Well, thank you so much. And the time went so fast. I apologize for ranting a bit here today, but I appreciate the time spending with you, and just highly recommend people to follow your cleansing. It's been so helpful for me. And my website is marsvenus.com, and my daughter manages it. So there's no politics there. So you can safely send your friends who don't want to hear the sort of the out of the box ideas that I just suggested. It's very safe. We do free blogs, free courses, and also some online courses that you can take that are more extensive.
Wonderful. And I always love having you on. You're just such a wealth of knowledge in mind, body, and spirit. That's why I love you so much. And thank you again. And thanks everybody else for joining us today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I'm actually happy to put together a personalized protocol for you. You can find this episode and all of my episodes on over 100 channels, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. Join us every week live at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays, and you can use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide. If you want to join my free group coaching on Telegram, non-censored, just like John was talking about, the link is below in the show notes, and it's there for everybody. Enjoy and invite your friends and family. Thanks again for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio and TV, and have a great week. Thanks, John.
Thank you.